shout out to this new channel. I'm not sure if it's new, but I newly found it. He's called Football Historian. Make sure y'all subscribe, show him love. Does a really good job breaking down some situations and showing you some of the history of the game. So let's get right into it with the one and only Primetime.
Said, teams don't pay him to tackle. Deion Sanders was a 2-time Super Bowl champion, Defensive Player of the Year, and the first true shutdown corner. But how does a player accused of avoiding contact become the greatest cornerback ever? Well, to understand that, you need to see the part of his game that didn't show up on the stat sheet. Sanders never led the league in interceptions, and his career total is middle of the pack amongst Hall of Fame defensive backs.
Quick little, cause y'all know me, I was a big, I'm a Deion Sanders historian. I'm just not one of those, I like Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, he never led the league in interceptions. However, if y'all know, Deion Sanders held the record for most return touchdowns, right? And that's interception plus punt return plus kick return touchdowns until Devin Hester broke it, I believe, in 2017. So while he's not the most interception getter, he was deadly when the ball was in his hand no matter what. But go ahead, continue your thing.
But that's because he was so good in coverage, teams just avoided his side of the field.
That was rule number 1 against Deion. Throw to somebody else. Don't let him touch the ball, and don't kick it to him. Get beat by somebody else. Don't get beat by Deion Sanders.
But even though teams threw in his direction less, he still made plays. As Sanders once said, if I don't let them get open, I won't get any work.
Jerry Rice gets a step on him, raises his hand, but there's no one with better catch-up speed in all of football than number 21.
Sanders was able to do this so well due to his sub 4.3, sub 4.2 depending on who you ask, 40-yard time. He also used that speed to become one of the greatest return men ever. And that speed had been obvious long before he reached the NFL.
When did you realize you were different? How old were you when you realized that I'm not like these other 10-year-olds or these other 8-year-olds or these other 13?
I think when I came out the womb like this.
For a punt, he shouted to the Clemson bench, "This one's going back." He returned it 76 yards for a touchdown.
And I don't mean to, interrupt my guy too much. He's doing a phenomenal job laying out why people enjoy Deion Sanders so much, and it's these explanations is why it confuses me why people hate Deion Sanders so much. I know the answer, right? It has a lot to do with people just not being confident and not believing in themselves, so they don't like people who believe in themselves. If you listen to the full story of why Primetime was Primetime, how can you not sympathize with a young man who just wants to do best by his mom, who wants to elevate himself, who sees the way that things are instead of accepting it and saying, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to get paid that number. Oh, no, well, how do I revolutionize the cornerback position? How do I revolutionize football and how this money is handled? And that's what Deion Sanders, he looked at it, he said, hey, I'm already the best joker out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm already that dude. If I take these to another level and go beyond things and do things that are larger and greater, he's a trailblazer in every definition of the word, not just because he was flashy and he was great and he backed up what he said. It was also that he had a plan. This wasn't just a mistake. He didn't fall backwards into becoming recognized as one of the best cornerbacks, period, in the game, right? No, that was something that he said, hey, I need to do this, but I also need to expand myself this. And this is the plan, and this is how I'm going to execute. Discipline, execution, talent, and hard work. It's a very, very scary disease. And don't forget God.
In his senior year, he emerged from a white stretch limousine in a tuxedo for a game against the rival University of Florida. Sanders was flashy, he had swagger, and he was arrogant. But in college, he backed up the talking. He believed he could do the same in the NFL. However, the Falcons were offering him $400,000. He could not retire his mum with that. So he demanded $11 million. It was an outrageous demand, but even in a market where corners weren't paid much, Sanders still had leverage. That leverage came from baseball. He was drafted by the Yankees in 1988, and by 1989, he was called up to the majors. So while his contract dispute with Atlanta dragged on, Sanders simply went to work in New York. On September 5th, he even hit a home run for the Yankees. Suddenly, the question flipped. Was he about to become another Bo Jackson, choosing baseball over the NFL? Well, if anything, Sanders was leaning the other way. I've always said that I love football and that baseball is my girlfriend. And the day after that home run, he proved it, signing a deal with the Atlanta Falcons worth more than $4 million. 4 days later, he was playing in his first NFL game. Breaking 2 tackles, and slipping past several other defenders, he returned a punt 68 yards to the end zone. That made him the only player to hit a home run in the majors and score a touchdown in the NFL in the same week.
And I want to add to it because, again, with it really sounds like it does sound like glaze when you talk about Deion Sanders. But just to get it right, this was the first time Deion Sanders touched the ball. He fumbled it, picked it up, and took that thing to the house the first time. I mean, I don't know how you can argue with that.
And throughout his career, Sanders kept stacking firsts. But football was where he believed he truly belonged. Even so, living up to the primetime hype was tough on a Falcons team that went 3-13 his rookie year and 5-11 the next season. Fortunately, by 1991, things finally clicked. Jerry Glanville, the architect of the Falcons' dominant grit-splits defense of the 70s, was now in his second year as head coach. But the 1991 Falcons were not a defensive team. Instead, with the league's fifth best offense, they built a system predicated on the deep ball.
We didn't have any West Coast long handoff. I'd rather take a stick in the eye than watch Bill Walsh's offense.
A 2-3 start, however, left most thinking this was the same old Falcons. And it looked
I like doing a little bit of, football, education for each time. Let's talk a little bit about a small summarization of the West Coast offense. So obviously it's called West Coast offense because it was developed in the West Coast. It was developed out there with Bill Walsh and different things like that. And again, we're not going to go into deep detail. Again, I know some of my football heads, y'all know better than me, but without even looking at this, I would describe a West Coast offense, not as a dink and dunk, but really they attack the center of the field, right? They're not looking for super deep balls. They're trying to kill you underneath and allow things to open up for other parts of the game. You start getting gashed with a pass game, then the run game comes, and then different things and different trinkets of that. And now this is westcoastoffense.com. It says the West Coast offense, short pass plays that replace the running game to control the ball. Bill Walsh originated with the Cincinnati Bengals and the 49ers. Long process for a quarterback to pick up all the reads and adjustments. Releases all 5 wide receivers into the pattern. Quarterback has progression read up to 5 receivers. Take what the defense gives you, make the defense adjust to you. The West Coast offense features short plays to replace the running game while still controlling the ball. The quarterback takes 3 or 5 step drop, reads the defense, and has progression of receivers to look for. Ideally, all 5 will release. I kind of said the same exact thing. But here you go. You have a lot of attacking the center of the field, the center of the field, the center of the field. So when someone says West Coast, these are all different variations, right? San Francisco, West Coast base. This is Arizona's West Coast offense, right? Well, this is actually not the center of the field. This is actually attacking a lot of out routes as well. So, but we can get into the deeper situation like that. When you hear, I just want you, anytime you hear West Coast, because it's very much a buzzword, that said a lot. Hey, this is a West Coast style offense, stuff like that. Sometimes you're going to see West Coast style offense paired with a heavy run game or maybe a zone run scheme, right? So just think about those things at the bare minimum. Hey, we're taking what the defense gives to us. We're going to be progression read. We're going to not look for the home run almost any time, hit you underneath until you adjust, and then we punish. So that's what the West Coast offense is.
Like it would only get worse as the 49ers were waiting for them in week 7. The marquee matchup this game was Deion Sanders versus Jerry Rice. It was their 5th of 10 eventual matchups. And if you want to be the greatest, you have to beat the greatest. So Sanders leaned on his obsessive preparation, something even more important when facing Jerry Rice.
I knew everything about my opponent, his likes, his dislikes, and I studied coordinators, not just players.
Yeah.
Coordinators stay, players change, and coordinators just use the guys like checkers. So I studied those guys. Now you couple that with talent and a work ethic, and you're here.
Yeah.
Sanders' best performance against Rice would come later, in 1993, where he had 2 interceptions, including one on a pass intended for Rice, and another to seal a 27-24 win. But today, in week 7, Rice had the upper hand. Still, Sanders answered back with a 100-yard kickoff return touchdown, helping the Falcons pull off a 39-34 upset. However, many considered this a one-off performance. This is the Falcons, a team who hadn't had a winning season since 1982. But 3 weeks later, they'd get their answer in a rematch. This game, however, turned out to be a slugfest. The 49ers led just 7-0 entering the 4th quarter. While Rice had won the battle in week 7, in the rematch, Sanders shut him down. Rice had 6 catches for 44 yards, meanwhile Sanders had 2 pass breakups and an interception. A short strike to Andre Rison early in the fourth tied the game, but the 49ers responded, and with just 9 seconds left, they held on to a 4-point lead. The Falcons did have one last attempt, at the 49ers' 44-yard line, and on the final play, they completed a Hail Mary. They had just swept the 49ers. It wasn't a fluke. By now, the entire city had embraced the spirit of the 1991 Falcons.
Hey man, as someone who lives in the Atlanta Falcons fan area, because I don't live in Atlanta, I live in Georgia, and I got a lot of Falcons fans. It's so crazy to know how much culture like the Falcons are above because of the 90s and the 80s, the Deion said, like there's so much culture like based in the Falcons, not even how they associate with Atlanta. No, the Falcons themselves, right? These wins, what this did for the city. So it's so dope to look back at, and even crazier to look back now because the Falcons are looked at as just a disappointment in every way. I want to end it here because I think this is great. I don't like watching fully people's videos unless y'all really want me to finish this video. I'll come back. Make sure y'all get support to Football Historian. I'm gonna end this because they're talking about the 49ers with one of my favorite 49ers. I believe this is 49ers. Someone correct me in the comments. But regardless, my favorite Deion Sanders, one of my favorite Deion Sanders stories was the fact that on the night of a NFL Super Bowl that Deion was playing when they went ahead and won it. This man Deion Sanders bought, I think, a brand new Lamborghini and drove it in that same day. So while people are getting ready, they're trying to prepare all this stuff he went to the Lamborghini dealership. No. I think I'm saying it wrong. He had a Lamborghini delivered to him, and pulled up to the Super Bowl with that brand new Lamborghini. I probably said something wrong. I probably got something wrong off that. But it's one thing to be great. It's another thing to do great things and do phenomenal things. It was great talking a little bit about what do you call it? The West Coast offense, of course, as well. And that's why I want to make sure y'all know this second channel. I want this to be something that's a little flavor to it. We're not just gonna react to stuff. We're gonna add some stuff to it. So I appreciate y'all. Appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like football content, and let me know what you want to see next. Peace.